This is the ABQ Business Podcast
with your host, Jason Rigby.
Each week we'll interview visionary business leaders to inspire the creative power and spirit
That's in every entrepreneur.
discussing strengths, weaknesses, strategies, systems, and the problems we can all solve together for a new future for local small business.
June 6, 1944. It was the greatest generation, and it was the longest day. Over 3/4 of a century ago, in the early morning hours, the largest amphibious invasion ever mounted went ashore at Normandy in France. Guys, it had an invasion of 4,000 ships, 11,000 planes, and nearly, get this, 3 million men. They strategized for over a year, and Eisenhower, our president at the time, had to look at this as the turning point of what would win them a war. So he wrote a letter to the troops, and this is something I want us to look at when we look at history. In times of crisis, in times of need, we need strong leadership. And we can go back. This is why it's so important, guys, to study history. We can go back and we can see these examples of this leadership that shows strength, that shows humility, that shows loyalty, that shows servanthood. And then we can look and see leadership that shows arrogance, that shows hypocrisy, that shows egos that are all about themselves and only them, not being concerned about anyone that they serve or lead. But Dwight Eisenhower wrote this letter to the troops, and I want to read it to you. I think it's pretty amazing, and it's just an awesome letter. And it says, "The Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force, soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force. You're about to embark on the greatest crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well trained, well equipped, and battle hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year, 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940 to 41. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts has given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking. Dwight D. Eisenhower." So you had this huge invasion, millions of people, all of these boats, amphibious craft coming up on the beaches. You had thousands of paratroopers coming out of the sky, landing inland. And then at dawn on the beaches with code names that would be familiar to all of us, Omaha, Utah, Juneau, Sword and Gold, the Allied push to free Europe from tyranny. And with the bravery and the sacrifice of so many lives, and a lot of people don't realize, but there were about 12,000 casualties, 4,900 U.S. troops killed, but 155,000 successfully made it ashore. And within a year of this battle, Germany would surrender. One of the things that people don't realize, and this is what I love about leadership, is that he had wrote 2 notes. He had written another note ahead of time that if they had failed, he had already thought that if this mission had failed and they couldn't get across the English Channel, he would order a full retreat. And so one day before the invasion, he prepared this statement just in case. He said, "Our landings in the Cherbourg Harbor area have failed to gain a satisfactory foothold, and I have withdrawn the troops. My decision to attack at this time and place was based on the best information available. The troops, the air, and the Navy did all that bravery and devotion duty could do. If any blame or fault attaches to the attempt, it is mine alone." Guys, that's leadership. That's 100% responsibility. It is the way that you lead the people that are around you. It is the way that you lead the people that are closest to you, the people that you love. When you understand that it's you and it's only you, and the responsibility lies 100% in you, it is freeing. Because you know that at that moment of failure, it's you. There's no excuses. Do you see what he says here? If any blame or fault attaches to the attempt, it is mine alone. He was prepared. Now, they won, turned the tide of war. Germany surrendered, like I had said. But if it would have failed, he knew that as a leader, this is what you do. He said it was my decision, and I am to blame, and it is mine alone. And I encourage you guys in these crises and this up and down, back and forth, seesaw, is COVID this bad? Is it not that bad? It's on surfaces, it's not on surfaces, it's mask, no mask, Republican, Democrat. I mean, the list goes on. Everything's being politicized, guys. People are fearful, they're scared, but it's more than that. They're confused. And when you have confusion, you don't have clarity on the mission that is at hand. And that is our responsibility as leaders, to bring safety and clarity to everyone. It is your responsibility as a business leader to get your people together and tell them, this is the direction we're going. This is what we're going to do. If it fails, it's 100% my responsibility. But we're going to try. We're going to give 110%. We're going to be faithful and brave to what we know that we can do and what we can influence. And watch what your people do. They will respond. And those that don't, it's time to clean house. This is why I love history, guys. We have this ability to be able to go back and see strength, to see the truth. So stop looking at all this garbage that's being pumped to you on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or Fox Business News or Bloomberg. Cut all that off, guys. It's all there. It's marketing. It's there to keep you engaged. There's no more reporting anymore. There's no more truth out there. But we know what really happened in history, and we can read, we can understand. We don't have to devour our feeds on Instagram and Facebook and let it feed us the same bias over and over and over again and get us worked up and angry. Instead, we can devote our time to the things that matter the most. And that is us using our influence to make other people's lives better. That's what we're here for. We're here to serve in our leadership. We're here to take someone and let them see the potential that's inside of themselves to grow, to be productive. to work hard, to be Americans. And so I encourage you guys, read more about this. It's amazing. And I know D-Day just had happened, and I wanted to share this with you guys. And I hope that each of you will take this to heart and will be the leaders that you know that you should be.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share.
And go to abqpodcast.com.
Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.